Hello and welcome to another turn here of Dominions 5 with the False God and special guest Kirby.
Hello again.
Thank you so much for being here. Alright, so we are jumping back in as Phaeacia, and we have, this isn't the first turn of the war, but it's the first turn of the war with major battles. And so we'll go ahead and just jump right into some of them. And then we'll do thoughts. I did already send Kirby the turn, so he's had a chance to look at this.
Yep, I wanted to hear what you had to think about it first,
Right.
and then I'll share some of my thoughts.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So first, I forgot to put PD in. Score 1 for me. Great job. Second, so we've got a couple of different battles here, and I don't remember which titles are big, but okay. So we have the first of the Flagrant Tyrant, thug super combatants rolling out. And these guys are looking pretty scary. We'll let them run through their script here and then talk about it once their script goes. But Iron Skin, Iron Will, Temper Flesh, Summon Earth Power, and Phoenix Fire. So that's a lot.
Should be alt 7 or 8, right?
Yes, I think at least alt 7 for Phoenix Fire. So this guy, 105 hit points, 29 protection, 25 MR. He's garbage defense, and they've got firebrand. He's got a firebrand, lead shield. He's enlarged, so he's up to size 6. One of my first thoughts was air elementals, but that's not going to do anything against size 6. Elemental armor. What are these? Boots of the messenger. An acorn necklace for luck and shock resistance, and then a ring of regen. So this is a tough cookie to crack.
Yeah, he's still got more encumbrance than Reinvig, I think, even after.
He does.
So that could be a play there.
And he's got Berserker, which I think adds to his encumbrance, right?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
If it procs, yeah.
If we ever hit him.
And that would be sort of one way to negate the Phoenix Fire aspect of it for sure.
Right. He may have so much encumbrance he just dies with Phoenix Fire, never triggering. Yeah, because he has Reinvig 7, encumbrance 9. So my first thought is that his MR looks too high to try and just like walk in and soul slay him. Even with a lot of pen gear, we'd have a hard time breaking through.
It should be doable if there's enough chaff. You'll just sort of rely on the off chance that you'll get it with just spamming it enough times. Soul Slay or the Enslaved Mind.
Enslaved Mind would almost be even better at that point.
Yeah, I think you've teched up to that this turn.
Yep, I have Enslaved Mind available. Okay. So that's a possibility. I wasn't sure if he would be killable with Weapons of Sharpness on just like a group of troops. Try and cut through the protection. Not sure if they would do it fast enough, but with his encumbrance being high, maybe the Phoenix Power wouldn't be such a big deal. That's kind of hard for me to pull off, though. I don't really have it super easy.
Yeah, he's up to about 30, plus the Temper Flesh is going to reduce the damage output from that, and then you're chopping through regen.
Right, and he's got quite a bit of it. Or, well, he's not a ton of, he only has 10 regen, but he's a lot of hit points.
So the best bet is probably some stacks of counter thugs.
Okay.
I don't think you probably have the gear for it quite yet.
Probably not, because
it would be. You'd be able to jump on him because of cloud trapezing, so you can pick your fight whenever you feel like you're ready. And this would probably take a couple of instances of testing to see if you can
actually
break it down.
Do it. Yeah.
One thing that I noticed with his gear is that you can strip a couple things away with something that is forgeable with an Earth 2. Which would be the Star of Heroes.
Okay, let me go look at that one. I don't immediately remember that.
That one, it's a one-handed weapon, Earth 2, 10 Earth Gems. It's effect break armor on damage, which is significant. So you'd want to buff strength to get through his protection and such. But on damage will completely destroy his shield and his armor, which would be the elemental armor and the lead shield. So that would cut his MR down and remove all of his elemental resistances, which would be one way of
that could
chopping through that.
Go a long way. Just jump back in on. Okay, so maybe some. So that this my counter thugs would be like the Colossi Storm Captains probably. And then
if you were feeling really brave, you could also do the
prince.
Yeah, the princes, and you do have the attack skill on your bless now, so
that's true. They are better at it.
And then another good thug weapon, especially for somebody who has you want to fatigue play, is Axe of Hate, which is nature for nature magic 2 with 10 gems, and it on damage does fatigue 20 and also disease.
Okay.
So that would be one thing you could do as well.
Now, if I Cloud Trapeze onto him, he fatigues out. Am I going to be able to kill, even fatigued out, am I going to be able to kill him?
Yeah, that's the valid point. Let me check real quick.
Because I presume, right, even if he's fatigued out, if I can't kill him, I'll rout because I'm the aggressor.
Eventually at the turn timer.
I mean, yeah. But if he's not dying, then that's one of the things that's happening.
Yeah, at least he doesn't have fear, so that's one thing you don't need to worry about as much.
That's true. He does not have fear. He does not have fear to keep the outer systems in line.
Well, he has the Taskmaster, you know.
Yeah. That whip. Keep his people in line.
So yeah, as far as surviving his counterattacks, you'd want fire resistance because of the firebrand.
Yep.
And probably just defense.
Yep.
Until you fatigue him out, and then you won't have to worry about him hitting you back. He doesn't have any fire shield or anything like that, or any soul vortex stuff. So
right.
Probably be good. Another thing you could take advantage of is the poison resistance is relatively speaking pretty low.
That's true.
It's only 5. Poison is surprisingly strong and will be able to over time chip through the regen, and is all armor negating. So things like Serpent Chris or Astral Serpent are both great sources of death poison, which you just stack them up, and then eventually he'll the regen won't be able to do anything. And those are both armor negating sources of damage too. So that's the big thing, is once you are thinking about it, you want armor negating to get through the protection, and any type of untyped damage would be the best, because then you don't have to worry about the
resistances.
Resistances. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds very doable. We have to run it through some testing to see and make sure that it is as doable as it sounds.
Yeah, for sure. You'd want to you have the advantage of being able to hit him whenever you feel you're ready. So then it's just a matter of following in after him. So he's just going to raid around. His tyrants are going to go pop around on provinces, and you just go in with, well, I mean, I was going to say a small raiding force, but counter raiding force, but he seems to be PD dumping is the other thing.
Yes, we did see some of that. We did see that. Now, how likely do you think it is? And I don't think we certainly don't have the gear to fight him this turn, so I guess we'd find out. But what is the risk of him switching scripts? Like adding a fire shield instead of something else, right? Seems very doable if you're trying to catch somebody.
You can test the theory by dropping somebody in on him and magic phase, and then on retreat to see if he's changed anything up.
Sure.
Or
he'll probably just keep attacking me though.
Yeah, he'll just attack again too. So there's that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really that much else that he would do.
Okay.
You already want the fire resistance
Sure.
anyways versus fire shield, and probably it would be a good idea to do some MR in case he puts up soul vortex, stuff like
Sure.
that.
Sure. Okay. All right. Definitely some. I should be. I need my notepad. I guess I can just watch the recording. Okay. So definitely some ideas, and I think we have all the paths to forge all of that. I have to check the exact gem situation, but that seems in some ways doable. This is the I think this is the very sad battle. Okay. So he's got all his helots. He's got some mages. He's got these ice drakes and some mouflons. And we have colossi and some of our weavers, basically, were what we had sort of available here. Because this is really far to the, I guess, our south of the Empire in former Mickland lands. So I'm just going to let it play. Obviously, we've seen it, but for the viewers at least. So we get this first round of arrows hits us pretty hard before Arrow Fend comes up. And I definitely am positioned in the wrong place. I think those guys should be farther back. He's got fire arrows, which are pouring in as well. And then he's got these ice drakes. And we're trying to do some elemental spam, basically, but these guys are definitely struggling with these ice drakes in the winter a little bit. And just the huge amount of arrow fire coming in is... 80% to miss when you're firing 100 arrows is still a lot of arrows getting through. And so we ultimately, go ahead and fast forward, but we ultimately rout off without killing anything too important. We lose our communion slaves, unsurprisingly, and a whole giant pile of troops. We killed, nothing, basically. Some of these ice drakes, I guess. And they dealt most of the damage to our infantry, but I don't think that they were the ones who dealt the damage to our mages, which are what's sort of more relevant. We lost pretty much all of our troops and the 5 colossi, most of whom were in the communion. So if I go back into the battle, so I think what went wrong here is that I didn't have another blocker for archery, like mist or storm. I only tried to pull off the one arrow fend. 2, my positioning is terrible. If I'm going to do something like this, I can just go... I think I should just be standing in the back. There's no reason to be in archery or in arrow range for this. 3, I think I didn't respect these ice drakes and their frost breath, so I either needed to script some kind of frost resistance for my front line, or try and put out troops in the front line who were resistant to frost, like the Spartae, or maybe water elementals, which I actually don't know if they're resistant to frost, but
once you get into cold,
they'd be ice elementals. Yeah.
So they should be good.
So that I think could have held these guys up. And then if I had my mages farther back, most of the arrow fire I assume would have gone on those who could have been protected by those spells I should have put up.
Yeah, you'll notice that he also has his own Spartae that he's summoning.
He does.
As well.
He does.
Yeah, so it's a multiple nations have access to that kind of thing, but
Mediterranean.
Yeah,
he does. He definitely kicks those out too. So I don't know. Does that seem about like the sum of it, or am I missing any really key aspects?
Yeah, that's pretty much that. I'd say with archery specifically, and you have the ability to do this as well for scripting, you can certainly spread your formations out.
Yep.
Not just in terms of like having the mages outside of the blob, because there is some degree of, so the tyrants, the air random tyrants can cast Gift of Flight on themselves and be able to attack your back line. Doesn't look like the one that he has in this battle is an air random, so less of a worry there. But other than that, you won't have to worry about that. So having the mages in the full blob with the rest of your troops means that the arrows just sort of raining down all over the place have a chance of hitting them. And so you would want to have arrow catching squads a little bit further up so that doesn't happen. Then, of course, you can always dilute the pool of targets being hit by putting them on skirmish, which, will reduce a little bit the morale of them, but not by a significant amount, I think.
And I have them. Under most of these guys are under a commander with pretty good leadership at this point.
Right.
So their morale should have been okay. I definitely could have afforded skirmish mode, I think.
And then, summoning a couple of turns of chaff, and just then bringing more mages will probably do it. And I think in this particular battle, either you didn't get the scripts of elementals off in terms of the cast, or
I don't even think I brought them.
they got killed pretty easily because flaming arrows, that is one of the benefits, is air elementals land in the middle of the blob and then all get hit by fire damage, which they aren't resistant to.
Right.
And the same with the ice drakes, they'll be able to beam weapon their way through to victory. So ice drakes pretty good, which is another thing that you yourself can do as well.
True.
So just have a wall of ice drakes breathing at each other until they fatigue out.
Yes. So no, that all makes sense. Definitely. I as soon as I opened this up and saw that I lost, I'm like, what am I doing with my formation? I was just like, I have arrow fend up, right? Arrows don't do anything, which is not what arrow fend does. So definitely a tough loss, but nothing irreplaceable. I don't know. I don't think this blob had a ton of gear on it to lose either. So an unfortunate battle.
So with the response to this and moving forward in this turn, because it has so many helots, their fort's cracked. But and you kind of lost a little bit of the initiative because you have fewer mages in there now to defend against him storming. But I think it's still doable if you wanted to defend. There are sort of two options. You could either break siege and retreat and come take that fort back later. But the other option is, I think if you wanted to, you could cloud trapeze with 60 air gems, a good number of backup, especially prince consorts and stuff like that, fight in the fort and probably be able to repel him with a mass air elementals. And because you would have the advantage of the choke point.
Yep.
With some of the stuff that you have in there, you could probably bottle that up pretty good until the air elementals and then your evocations do the work of forcing them to retreat HP route first. So that's an option for you if you wanted to. And again, scripting, maybe moving your guys to the back and then spreading them out too. Just don't put your mages all in the same square. Just move them in sort of like a chaotic spread pattern. And they've got the range with things like pillars of fire and stuff. The other option is just double down on all of the anti-arrow stuff. So like you said, putting up mist, putting up storm, putting up arrow fend, that'll destroy a lot of missiles coming at you. And eventually they'll just run out of ammunition.
Right. And a lot of the ice drakes are gone. There's only 2 left.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll definitely have to take a look at that and see if it looks worth it. There's a chunk of mages in there, but 60 air gems is also a lot of gems. But let's go ahead and go through continue through some more battles. I think this is going to be the other big one. Yeah. So here I have made all of the same mistakes, just off the start. Right, I've got all my mages blobbed in the middle. I don't know why I'm positioned like I'm trying to catch mass flight. because I don't expect mass flight. He's not going to cast mass flight. There's no reason to be positioned this way. But I've got essentially the same general orders, but a little bigger. And I have a couple of things. We'll go ahead and play this one. Again, right, huge wall of arrows, hits a bunch of mages because they're standing like idiots. We got Ice Drakes again. We're launching, I'm not even sure what that was. But you can see he's on pretty much the same thing. Just obliterated a stack of our mages. Now we're evocating the shit out of him. We've got some big air elementals who, as you said, are drawing a lot of arrow fire. And that is killing them. But in this case, we're able to get into contact, I think, a little bit faster. He also has fewer mages here. No Sparte. You only got like the 2 guys or whatever. And we're able to sort of get in here and get this fight going, and then he's going to rout off the field as we sort of close into melee. So we win this one, but it hurts way more than it needed to. We lost a prince, we lost a shaman, and we lost another 5 colossi for no reason.
Yeah, in this particular one, I think when you had a caster for Arrowfend, he must have either gotten sniped or failed to cast it because of getting hit by an arrow. So you didn't have that up in this battle either.
Yeah, I also attempted to cast Mist and scripted somebody to do it, and then forgot to give him a gem. I also messed up. I thought about it after the fact. I was like, oh, I need a priest to bless my prince consorts, just, for that extra little bit. And you'll notice he's not present because they are on move and patrol, and he just moved. And he's like, I don't understand what's wrong, you guys. I'm in the fort. It's great. I don't know what all this commotion is out here.
Eventually, they are able to bless themselves too.
That's true. They will eventually do it off script. But so essentially, I think this is the same problems, more or less. We had more stuff, and they have a little bit less stuff, so we won this time. RNG, whatever. But it's all the same. I could have probably put more PD too. It's all the same flaws. We did see Enslaved Mind go off. We took some ice drakes,
which is good and bad. It sort of means that you know what the easy fixes are. But you still it
still hurts.
Unfortunate, avoidable losses. So
yes, and I could have made I wanted to take both fights because I thought I was going to win both fights the same way, and so I didn't want to give them the chance to react. But I could have theoretically taken one or none of the fights and then, reacted when things happened. We had a couple more. I think the rest of these are just raids. We lost a raid. They had 41 guys, and I only had 9. So this is probably too small to really be effectively raiding. But they had a bit more province defense than I was capable of dealing with. We successfully won this one against a smaller group of province defense. And then we saw another Flagrant Tyrant on the same script. We're also getting whacked with Raging Hearts. I want to say it's what it's called, or Fiery Hearts, or whatever remote spell that is.
It could be Raging Hearts, and it looks like it's in your capital.
Yeah, he did do it in the capital. I put up a dome.
Are you sure that's what it was? Because it could have been something else in theory, but it's probably that.
I looked it up in the mod inspector, and I'm like 90. I'm pretty sure this is the text. It also happened twice last turn in Mictlan and in my capital, and then it happened once here in Mictlan, and I blocked a spell with my fancy new dome.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident that Raging Hearts is what's happening.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. I don't remember if any of the rest of these events, I don't think they mean anything. They're just classically bad. Okay, so now onto the strategic map. So our victory, sort of quote unquote, is here. We kept them off the fort. Now this is our lizard producing fort, so it's pretty nice to hold on to this. We lost a bunch of troops. We still have a small group, but we would definitely need to make sure to learn our lesson and bring more summoned chaff to the fights, Spartae, elementals, etc. Because we don't have as many of our troops as we did before. This is a raid, and this is the 2 raids he has with his tyrants. We won our fight here. I forgot to put PD here, and he's got some devils. And then, which is a little concerning, because they don't have blood.
I was going to say, it looks like he would have had an event to cast Horde from Hell, but it's mainly devils, so he probably has on his pretender blood and is forging
soul contracts.
Soul contracts,
yeah.
And I don't know what he's leading them with because we didn't see, but
yeah. That was pretty silly. I don't remember. I've seen his pretender before. It's a Draken. I don't know if I've seen it in battle, just on the map. It's definitely what put up his Mother Oak and Gift of Health.
Okay, well, he's got the Inner Throne, so he's got passive blood income.
True, that's probably
empowered, I guess. Then somebody.
Yeah, but definitely something we need to watch out for. Not a normal toolkit, or not a normal tool in Falegra's toolkit. The blood, and then our loss is down here on this border fort. And we still have 10, 11, 12 something mages here. We have some remaining troops, but not a lot. Really not a lot. And we have some, we have some access to mages. We could, so that's the question. I know you, so we sort of mentioned it before, right? Do we want to try and retreat these guys, or do we want to try and take the fight? In terms of what's already here, we could put up a small communion. We've only got one earth guy or gal. Couple of fires, couple of waters. So if we were gonna try and fill the gate with, and this is the stack that did not lose as many ice drakes. So if we need to fill the gate with water resistant stuff, we have some access to Spartae and elementals, but not a ton. I would think that they could be overwhelmed.
He's only got 2 left from the battle, so
for this one, I thought this one had more.
Yeah. You press C on the province.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
This is the one where I guess he lost. Okay, so that's not as big of a deal. I'm sorry. I apologize. I got mistaken. So we're mostly would just be dealing with the Archer Fire. So if we wanted to deal with that Archer Fire, how many people do we need to teleport to Cloud Trapeze in? And can they make it? Because I don't have any princes here. I have some up here, but I think this is too. What's the range on that? I can't even remember where it's located.
It's enchantment.
Enchantment. Cloud
range
Trapeze.
Is 5.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so these guys are in range. Okay, so I have three princes, and then a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, never mind. I have just about everybody's in range
of your cap too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Dios mío. All right, 5 is a lot of range.
On top of that, you can Cloud Trapeze in Weavers, the Air 2 Weavers.
The Air 2 Weavers, yeah. Well. So if I wanted to Cloud Trapeze in, obviously the question is how much it costs versus, what am I saving? If I just come in here and retreat out, I don't have a lot of retreat routes. I have to take this back, and that would give me 1 because this has a river. And it's getting warmer, not colder.
That's a bit of a problem there, yeah.
Yeah. I could also say, okay, all of my Air 2s here, and then potentially a couple others who I give gear to could Cloud Trapeze out. Right? Or can you do that if you're under siege?
You can, yes.
Okay. So potentially, I know I have at least an air helmet rolling around somewhere. I've got like an elemental mastery staff. I could save 1, 2, 3, 4. I could save 4 of them and lose like another, 8 mages or something. Question would be, I guess, how much if we put in, say, 3 princes with Storm, Aerofend, and Mist. That's probably, it feels like that's enough to really negate that Archer Fire.
I feel like it could do, yeah.
Especially if I don't put them in the front.
And if you, put in some other blockers, you can also summon a couple of things.
Yes.
That can help, like this turn inside the fort, that can help.
Yep.
Draw fire. So
I think cubes for the most part.
Yeah, you can make some cubes. You can also, excuse me, make with air 2, you could do either griffins or wyverns, and if you're putting storm up, they'll just walk forward, so you won't have to worry about them flying. And then, of course, you will want to basically just throw air gems at the problem into form of elementals.
Right.
So that is sort of like, how much are you willing to spend to
make this go away?
Fort?
I do have, and like the more items I put on, the more costly it gets if it goes wrong. So it'd have to be now, on the bright side, he shouldn't be able to add anything very easily. Like if he's going to storm it this turn, we know what's there. So it can certainly be, it should be able to be tested relatively thoroughly if I, have the time, etc. Because nobody can move on here and join into a siege or a storm.
Yeah, and you can give yourself even more room if you think he's just gonna sort of ping it before storming. Then that'll give you the benefit of being able to reinforce it as well from Mictlan, for example.
Yes,
the Weaver stack there.
Yep. So he, now obviously it may or may not be the case. When he took Nazca, he pinged it twice before going in.
Okay.
So he may be a more cautious player.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Now Nazca had a god in it and was their last stand. Right. This is a random fortification that he just won a huge battle on top of. So it's not the same scenario by any means. Okay. So that would require a lot of testing, obviously. So let's just put a pin in it for a second, because we'd have to go and see how economical it is to try and save it, and then if it is economical, discuss whether or not it's sort of actually worth it. When we figure out what the final cost is. Up here, I still have this army, but I don't really want to run this army into this tyrant. If I don't have to, like God, I hope we'd win, but I don't know that is like a good idea.
I think you would want more weavers to do more soul slay. And have higher penetration chance. Plus, you'll need to stack up on preferably the astral 2s with smashers and spell focus.
Yeah, I have a little bit of that, but not enough. What is it? Shift click. I can move some stuff. I have a little bit of pen gear, but yeah, no, I guess not enough.
Yeah, I'd say at this point you can probably switch a lot of your research core into just mass forging.
Sure.
Especially with the steel ovens, you can get a lot of things for cheap. Basically, every single mage in the steel ovens can forge stuff for you. And that would be a lot of spell focused stuff. For example, your pretender can make cheaper rune smasher, things like that. And then you have the option of reinforcing with a large stack of weavers from 49.
Yes.
Which can get you a pretty significant doom stack. Oh, and another thing that will probably be able to kill the tyrant is obviously just mass gift of heaven spam.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So
And now, what are
that range? Yeah, it'd be hard to hit him, but if you put up a wind guide and then let him get closer a little bit, should be able to delete him.
That would be fun. So yeah, I don't know. I know that there's like an enforced mischance, or not mischance, but like precision penalty on Gift of Health, or Gift of Heaven, not Gift of Health.
Yeah, right.
Now he has luck though, right? So Gift of Health or Gift of Heaven has to work twice.
It doesn't have to. Luck is not guaranteed. It's basically a chance of surviving a death blow.
But it's like 75% or something, right? Like it's pretty high.
Yeah.
So we more likely than not we'd have to hit him twice. We could test that
you want to be really pummeling down on him.
Right, and you're danger closing the bejesus out of whoever's holding him back. In the meantime, if they've made
probably
contact.
Either summons or just like throwaway guys.
Yep. Could test that option as well. Okay. So yeah, we have substantial mages still available. We're by no means destitute on that front, right? Like I've got whole fortresses of mages sitting around. All these ones are all kind of beat up now from my idiocy. Okay. So I guess the first step is forging the penetration gear that I know I'm going to need. And in terms of my hammers, my worst income that I'm going to use is probably fire and earth. My astral is a lot better than it used to be. Nature's better. I have shockingly bad fire and earth for being a nation that theoretically has that stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the Mictlan asphodels could get searched with fire still.
So yes, they absolutely need to. Just hadn't gotten around to it. I feel like I have search mode, and then I'm like, oh, I've searched my lands. I'm not gonna search anymore, which obviously is poor. But I'm just thinking of where I want to put the hammers that I have in terms of conserving those gems. Because like fire, we don't have a lot. We're not getting tons. I could try and trade with somebody, I guess, but probably Pelagia, because they have Eternal Pyre up, and I don't know what they could be doing with that many fire gems. Sure, up to no good. Okay. So I guess maybe the first step is actually, I don't know, what do you think? Do we test the thug? Test the defense? I don't know if we have time for both per se. Don't want to use up all your time.
Yeah, I think the testing might be
a separate activity. That's fair. That's fair.
Or a whole separate video.
It could be a whole separate video. You have to get another. Yeah. Oh, this is up for grabs. No, I probably don't need to piss off Caleb at this exact moment.
So one thing we could think through is the directions you'd want to attack from here.
Right.
And potentially with what. So
yeah.
Your targets are probably going to be the throne in 50.
Yep.
And then if you can retake the initiative, also down south, the throne in 123.
Yep.
And presumably Nazca's cap.
Yes, that was exactly what I was thinking before this turn started. Because this one we've definitely is gonna need a little bit of time, I think, to recover enough forces. But maybe just because even with mostly mages, right, and a low amount of chaff to help them out, there's just not a lot of chaff here.
Yeah.
But I think these targets are definitely on the menu. I think probably have to go this way to avoid a mass starve in the desert. And then this one, I just want to make sure, obviously, that we have this tyrant sort of dealt with, or at least tested against. And then it's easy enough to move up here. Now, we have some significant forces of, regular troops still remaining. We've got 90 guys here. We've got 50 guys here. And we could look to either combine these and then give them lots of mage support and march up. This could march over here and try and focus on this front. Or we could try and sail down here and then march probably to Micklin. And then from Micklin to 134 here.
And you can also be thinking about where you would want to do your own thug raiding groups.
Right.
Because if he does have Cloud Trapeze, then you'll want to offer him something that's sort of throwaway that you don't mind losing, but is capable of being an annoyance that you'll want to see if he has something to respond to it. So I see you've started making a couple of thug gear. So if you do like a Frostbrand, Bind Shield, Armor of Knights,
yes,
arguably because of your resources in terms of steel ovens and hammers, that's pretty cheap. It would be, I guess, what is it?
So Armor of Knights is 5, so that goes down to 2. Same for Frostbrand.
And then the Vine Shield is 20% off, so 8 minus
5 or minus 3.
2, yeah, minus 3. Okay,
so no, I'm sorry, it's minus 2, right? The Weavers can't make it.
So yeah, so probably 6. So that's
yep.
That's just 10. That's 10 gems, which is okay.
Yeah.
And he'll see it as 20 gems.
Right. So, it looks like a bigger investment.
Yeah, and then you just throw that gear on a Storm Captain and
send him in.
Yeah, and then just Misform and Liquid Body, probably enough so you don't over encumber yourself.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to do what he's doing.
Yeah, another good thing that you can do, which I never complain about having too many of these things, is just forge on repeat with your nature mages Boots of the Messenger, because you literally cannot have enough Boots of the Messenger. If every single one of your mages in the game had Boots of the Messenger, you would be like, thank God.
Yes. No, that's absolutely a good point. I'm still in the very new player mindset. I'm like, all right, I've got gems, I've got research. I want to cast a giant, what giant global can I throw all of my gems into that's not going to save me later?
Right. Well, with this kind of stage in the game, one of the things I'm super bad at is long-term logistics. And so it's always a thing that I'm working on, is just having mages on repeat forging something that I'm like, I'm always going to use this. I'm always going to need more of it. And then I don't care if I lose 1 or 2 of them in bad situations. And over time, you will have accumulated so many that you're like, oh, good, I just have some lying around. I can just throw them on now. Yes. And it's sort of in the back of your mind that you have these things.
Yes.
So those are those kinds of things where it's 2-3 mages in the steel ovens on repeat forging of spell focus. 1 or 2 mages anywhere on repeat Rune Smasher forging, and then 5 mages on repeat Boots of the Messenger forging. It's yes, that'll cut into your income, but you were going to make them anyways, and you would want to have them anyways, at least. So
no, definitely an area of forethought that I need to do a better job with. Because otherwise, you're like, all right, we know what we need against this guy. Do we have it prepared? No. All right, then I guess he's gonna go take another province. Okay, yeah. So definitely have some good ideas of testing against these guys. See how much this costs. What would you just... So imagine on the low end, right? It takes me, in testing consistently, 3 Prince Consorts teleporting in and 20 air gems worth of casting, but that's cut by using, Storm in the Bottle to whatever, I don't know exactly how many I have, like 5 or something, cut to some other number. What do you think is about the reasonable cost, right? If it cost, those 3 guys plus 20 gem, plus 20 gems or whatever worth of spells, I would say that seems to me like a very reasonable cost that I could, see investing. But if I had to teleport in like 10 guys and then spend a bunch of gems, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, like if you're spending like your 60 gems to defend that one province, that's probably overkill.
Right.
And that sort of is the thing. It's like you are wanting to win without overkill because those are resources you're going to want to have later to continue winning.
Right.
So
I think that's what happened to me a little bit in like this one too. I was like, I don't want to invest more than I have to.
Yeah. And then some of it is you can invest as much as you thought you could with a little bit better scripting, which is
yeah. I mean, I should have tested it too, but when we finished yesterday, I was like, it'll be fine. I don't want to. Been doing this for 2 hours or something.
Yeah, right. So I just sort of spitballing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd see what I could bring in with 20 air gems total in terms of cloud trapezing in, and also the air gems I'd be using for the battle. Fighting in the fort has got the risk of if you don't manage to get them to route first, everything that you have route dies. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Can I vortex?
No, you don't have it yet. It's it's high thaumaturgy.
Okay.
8.
No, 7.
Yeah. So it's doable. You can get it.
Yeah, I could get if I thought, now again, I don't know what he's going to do, and I probably can't plan on it, right? But if I thought he was just going to ping, I could actually research that and then plan on vortexing out.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Although I would need to send somebody in to do that. Astral 4, I have +2. Actually, I wouldn't need to send anybody in. That's hilarious. Because I could communion. You can communion. It's in combat.
Yeah, so that's doable. I was just noticing in your tech that you can also certainly start thinking about how you would get golems, and that is another valuable use of astral gems that will give you a lot of options.
For sure. Definitely golems are... I had in one of my other games, I'm like, okay, golems. Everybody says golems are great. I'm going to make some golems. Okay, I have no idea what to do with them. They're going to research. It's not what they're supposed to do. Meanwhile, somebody was throwing a horror harmonica golem at me, and I was like, well, I want to do that, but I can't do that. Because he stole it.
Check out my wish and steal it.
I should have done that. Okay, so that's another possibility depending on what he does. I don't think that I can rely on it though. Just I am 1 turn behind on the research. If it doesn't work, I'd just be sort of losing everybody that's here, without recourse.
Right.
Because they're not going to just cast that.
No, they're not. Yeah, you would.
That would be so bad if the AI is just like, yeah, you know what? I don't like the way this looks. We're out. That would be pretty funny. But okay, so that's definitely something I could think about in the future. Okay. So yeah, the question is test this, see how much it costs, potentially hit this province to help enable a retreat. I don't know. This is Belial. I don't know if I can realistically... I don't know how easy it is to kill Belial, to open up like 2 retreat paths. Obviously, that's also retreating the wrong direction. if I hit this province with Woven Winter, does I know it's magic phase, but it doesn't happen until after combat. Because I know it can't change the temperature for an upcoming combat. But does it change it on the strategic map before retreats?
For retreats, yeah, I actually haven't had any situation where I would have that come up. So
okay, I guess I'd have to think
worth
about it.
testing or asking in the questions and yeah. See. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that could work.
I don't love that option. That's lower on my remote
Right.
attacking your own provinces is not my idea of a good time. Uh, so, but potentially worth thinking about. Asking Caleb if I can borrow his province, probably not going to go very well. One thing I actually I think I forgot to mention it, but it's really, really funny is that I never actually had a nap with these guys, but they acted like we did.
Yeah.
We teamed up obviously on Nazca, but they're like, all right, I'm attacking you in 3 turns or whatever, and I'm like, okay, all right, thanks for the heads up.
Right.
Because like I went back through, we never actually had it, but I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so I've definitely got some homework to do in terms of testing against these guys and testing this particular battle over here. This is definitely a lot fewer units, but I don't know what he could reinforce with. Right, he could reinforce with this Titan. He could, or not Titan, Tyrant. He could reinforce with more units. I'm hesitant about sending this sort of off to war. But I definitely am afraid of the fog of war, so I could also, it's tragic, right? Because I could have hit this silly thing with it was in cold 3 at the time, and I could have hit it with a not grip of winter, a murdering winter, which would have saved all my mages' lives. But I was overconfident.
Well, it probably would have been. I mean, I guess you got a large water incomes. I wouldn't say necessarily a waste of gems, but
yeah, but I mean, I lost. What did I lost a bunch of mages here, right? I lost 5
it could have
weavers,
been.
a prince, and a shaman for
Yeah, it
40
could have been
gems.
that if he had fewer helots, then the HP route would have either happened later or sooner. So there's that too.
Right, right. True. Anyway, so my first thought is that I don't want to attack outwards with this stack at present. What do you think?
Yeah, I would go out with. I think he's probably in the same boat. He probably is thinking that he doesn't want to attack because you're able to reinforce. So he might retreat. And I would say at that point,
Small
he's
force.
probably not going to be doing something like counter raiding into his own provinces like that tyrant or some other group's not
Sure,
necessarily
sure.
going to um, go and reinforce those provinces. So what you could do is at this point thug up these two storm captains and send them out because you have
Yeah.
the gear for both of them, and
Yep.
then make a couple more things of gear for future thugs, and then just poke out and see what he's got or how he reacts. If he PD dumps there, misformed liquid body is probably enough with that gear to be able to take
Pretty
20
good amount of
PD.
PD. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay,
Um,
that makes sense. And then I could potentially this group. I think this group I'm gonna send back this way. I don't like deep raiding without drawing income and stuff. I don't think that that's super effective. But I could also look to similarly send out some of these storm captains. I'm a little nervous about sending this guy because I don't want to deliver him a helmet of invisibility.
Well, he's also unfortunately old and crippled, so it's
He
kind of
is.
bad
That's
stats.
yeah. He's got some
Unfortunately,
struggles. Um,
you could use him as a scout. He's not ever going to be found.
that is true. Uh,
And yeah, as far as like the fog of war goes, open that up. Send some scouts out there and see what he has where.
I have a decent amount of scouts. We have a scout here, 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 here. I had more. I accidentally got like a lot of scouts murdered by walking through Calum, who was doing a lot of patrolling apparently. But I have one here, so I have a decent amount of scouts. I'm more afraid of him taking the same amount of time as I'm hopefully going to take when I march an army over here and being like, you know what kills this is a goofy Cyclops thug.
Yeah. You could also definitely reach out to Calum to see if he's interested at all in bringing the fight to.
That's true.
Lycra.
I should probably do that too because so Calum and Shiniyama were in a war with Agartha, who is basically dead. And is massively elongated in the game because they have just stopped playing, and so their turns are getting force rolled every time. But if he's not fighting, if they're done, he's probably gonna then be looking for another target, and that can, it'd be nice to push him towards that not being me.
There's a lot of tempting options for Calum to take along that area, which you would want to have instead of Calum, but given the circumstances, it's certainly more helpful to have distraction buddy.
I was Olm a little bit over here, although he doesn't have a chance to fight. My thought with Olm is he doesn't have a chance to fight a lot. He just has a chance to gain a lot. Right? Like he could take this throne, and he's not going to help me win the war at all. He's just going to be up a throne.
Yeah.
Sort of the same, and Pelagia they can fight Phalegra a little bit. Sort of a similar boat. They could also fight. I think they could fight me as well. I don't think they can fight me quite as effectively.
And you see that the Drakon is apparently in 73 on that coast with Pelagia, so 70. You might be worried about that too.
Which one of these is 73?
Yes,
there it is. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it definitely seems like something he could be afraid of. Yeah, I forgot that the Draken was over there. So, yeah, I know. Putting people just raiding into them, right, can sometimes put people on the back foot. They can make mistakes. They can get it's a lot easier to fight in other people's lands than it is your land from a psychological perspective.
Right.
So definitely look to maybe hit, another 5 something provinces with some light thugs and like this group. Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, I think I've got some homework to do.
Yeah, I'd say start with seeing what kind of difference it makes to have 200 flaming arrows, wind guide, hellet archers firing into just Arrowfend, and then Arrowfend plus storm, and then Arrowfend plus mist, and then Arrowfend plus mist plus storm, and see what each of those brings to the table and what is survivable.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and make sure everybody's positioned correctly where they're not going to get whopped. Okay. Yeah, I think that all makes a lot of sense. Very much appreciate your assistance. Anything else I need to work? So I'm doing some light rating. I'm going to test these thugs. I'm going to test this group, what we need to do to keep them alive and whether or not it's worth it. Anything else I should be maybe reaching out to Calum on a diplomatic front? So to be honest, right, I have not done a ton of diplomacy. I have a nap with Shiniyama that I had pretty early on, and I had not a nap with Phalegra that apparently was a nap. I've traded a little bit with Pelagia, and I don't think I've ever actually messaged Calum. We've just been chill on the border here.
Yep. Also unofficial nap.
Yeah. That's when I had first taken Micklin and Asphodel. I was like, all right, well, it's time to go kill Calum so I can be a square again instead of some kind of a blobby noodle, like a macaroni. But obviously that has not. We're not there anymore. So, yeah. Anything I'm missing?
Well, I think I'd just add that even though you got some losses, there's a lot to be learned, not just from what you could do differently, but also what he's bringing to the table.
Yep.
And all of these things are ways that you can improve to counter his builds and his push and stuff. So that's good.
Yes. Yep. I was like, how on earth do I have a little fight flag over here? This is one of my poor scouts getting whopped. Okay. Yeah. And making gear. That's the only other thing. Everybody staying on the steel ovens makes something.
You've still got a massive income and reserve, and you're able to make a lot of mages too. So that's all good stuff.
Yeah, we moved a lot of infantry off the payroll this month.
Yep, right. Cutting costs.
I just had to. The position is no longer. We no longer need to fill this position. But okay. Well, in that case, yeah, we almost kept it under an hour. We were so close. But I really want to say thank you, and I appreciate all the assistance. And I need to go and probably ask for an extension so I can watch my movie and still do the appropriate testing that this is going to take. I know we're well into the turns here, so this is when I know some games have the 2-day turns going for. I imagine situations like this.
Try and keep that 24-hour limit going. That's impressive.
This game has had so many delays. 24-hour limit perhaps, but we have somebody else was traveling. I've been I don't remember exactly when it started. We've had a ton of delays. The game host left the game and subbed out. That was Shiniyama.
Yeah.
So definitely very funny stuff. But yeah, again, thank you so much. And I think we'll go ahead and end the episode here then.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too.